Everybody, we're going to go ahead and get started with our business meeting. Today's date is April 8, 2025. The time is 2 p.m. In attendance are Commissioners Eberline, Duncan, and Matari. I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. We will begin with a moment of silence. Okay. Next up will be the Pledge of Allegiance. Colin, could you get us started, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Are there any changes to the agenda? Hearing none. Public comment. Hearing none, I will take a motion on meeting minutes.
I move that we approve items 1 through 6 meeting minutes.
Second.
Commissioner Eberline?
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan?
Aye.
Chair Matari?
Aye. Consent calendar.
I move that we approve items 7 and 8.
Aye.
Commissioner Eberline?
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan?
Aye.
Chair Matari?
Aye. Payables.
I move that we approve the payables from March 31st to April 4th, 2025 in the amount of $2,131,754.41, along with jury panel payments in the amount of $1,395.39.
Second.
Commissioner Eberline?
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan?
Aye.
Chair Matari?
Aye. Okay, on to our first business item, number 10, renewal of 3-year 700 megahertz MOU with Bonner General Health. It's 911, it's an action item, and we have Colin McRoy here.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Colin McRoy, Kootenai County Sheriff's Office 911 for the record. This is Bonner General has some radios on the 700 system. They'd like to continue using them. This is just their MOU renewal for access on the system. It's the standard renewal.
Questions? Motion?
I move that we approve the 3-year renewal of the 700 megahertz MOU with Bonner General Health.
Second.
Commissioner Eberline?
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan?
Aye.
Chair Matari?
Aye, motion carries. Next up, item 11, renewal of a 3-year 700 megahertz MOU with Benewah Medical Center doing business as Marimm Health, and this is 911 and Colin McRoy again.
Commissioners, Colin McRoy again. This same MOU with Benewah Medical Center. They have a few radios on the system and would like to continue using them. And this is their renewal. MOU is up for renewal.
Questions? Motion?
I move that we approve the 3-year renewal for the 700 megahertz MOU with Benewah Medical Center.
Second.
Commissioner Eberline?
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan?
Aye.
Chair Matari?
Aye, motion carries. Next up, item 12, Canfield Butte replacement proposal number 2023-309, approval with DIVCO Inc. and 911, and Colin McRoy again.
Commissioners, Colin McRoy again. This is a proposal from DIVCO to do the HVAC replacement on Canfield Butte, our communications site up there. It is an FY25 budgeted requested item. The HVAC unit up there is, I believe, original to the building. It's rather old and needs replaced. We have difficulty sourcing parts when they fail. Last year in the spring, we had the blower motor go out, and it took us about 2 weeks to source a motor and get it here and installed. So we planned a project to have it replaced. The cost for that from DIVCO is $19,201, and that is $5,799 under budgeted amount for the project, and this is covered by E911 restricted fund.
Thank you. Questions? Motion?
I move that we approve the Canfield Butte replacement proposal 2023-309 with DIVCO Inc. for the HVAC.
Second.
Commissioner Eberline?
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan?
Aye.
Chair Matari?
Aye, motion carries. Next up, item 13, Canfield Butte Battery Plant Replacement Proposal Approval This is with Day Wireless Systems and 911. And Colin, you're up again.
Commissioners, same site, Canfield Butte. This is battery plant replacement proposal. Last winter, spring, we had an issue with Hoodoo's battery plant to replacement. The battery plants are becoming of age and need replaced. And the battery type that they are difficult to source. There's only one importer of those batteries, and it's an aged battery technology type, so it's really difficult to get. We would like to replace the plant up at Canfield before we have a failure. Some of the batteries are original to the building, or original to the system installed in 2009, 2010. Some of the batteries were replaced in 2017, but they are of age. This was a budgeted FY25 project. Proposal cost is $67,071.67. That is over the $50,000 that we had budgeted for the project by a little over $17,000. We do believe those costs are due to one, labor cost increase, material cost increase for sourcing the batteries, and recycling costs that was a little bit higher for those batteries up there that need to be sent. They have to get sent to one particular place. Is the only one that will take those batteries and recycle them, so that cost was a little bit higher. We would still like to move forward with the project and cover that overage on the budget with some of the cost savings from the HVAC project that we're saving, and additionally we have a capital project for the CCGW replacement project that was budgeted that we're not moving forward with, and we also have fund balance to cover that additional cost.
Questions? Motion?
I move that we approve the battery plant replacement for the Canfield Butte system with Day Wireless Systems.
Second.
Commissioner Eberline?
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan?
Aye.
Chair Matari?
Aye, motion carries. You don't need a budget or anything for that, do you? A line item for where the extra money? Yeah.
Do you want it in the motion, or is it okay just that we identified their fund balance plus a project that's not going forward?
That's fine, we discussed it.
Okay.
Okay. Next up, item 14, Memorandum of Understanding, Canfield Butte General Mobile Radio Service, Radio Repeater, ERC3 Corp, and the Sheriff's Office. Colin?
Commissioners, the Sheriff's Office was approached about a year ago, I believe, by a group wishing to place a GMRS repeater up at Canfield, similar to the amateur radio repeater with cars that's up there. GMRS is just a different type of radio service, and you can place repeaters up there. We worked up a MOU with them to set the standards and agreement with them to place that up there, and this is that MOU with that group of individuals that would like to place it. The most significant or important thing to note with the MOU is they're agreeing to cover the cost of any bill that the U.S. Forest Service bills us for having that equipment at Canfield Butte, since it is a U.S. Forest Service leased property. And so they are in agreement with that, and your approval to move forward.
Thank you. Questions? No. Motion?
I move that we approve the MOU for the Canfield Butte General Mobile Radio Service, which is GMRS, radio repeater.
Second.
Commissioner Eberline?
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan?
Aye.
Chair Matari?
Aye, motion carries. Thank you. Next up, item 15, First Amendment to Agreement Performance Period Extension with Metz Group and Transit. And do we have Chad Engel on the line?
Yes, thank you, Commissioners. Chad Engel with the Transit Department for the record. We are requesting a 6-month extension of the performance period with the Metz Group. This will allow additional time for data collection, stakeholder engagement, and analysis. All other terms of the original agreement will remain unchanged. Legal has reviewed and approved.
Questions? Motion?
I move that we approve the First Amendment to the agreement performance period extension with Metz Group.
Is there a second?
Is there any changes with respect to the fees or what the deliverable was, Chad? It's just basically an extension so they can provide the deliverable that was already contracted for?
Yes, that is correct. It's just the timeline. That's all that's changed. Everything's still the same as far as fees and as far as the deliverable.
And this is just a report to be delivered?
Correct.
Okay. Will you be sure that you show the board this report?
Of course, yep.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Commissioner Eberline?
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan?
Aye.
Chair Matari?
Aye, motion carries. Thank you. Next up, item 16, subscriber agreement, TRADS services with Transunion TLOxp, and this is with the coroner and Dr. Duke Johnson.
Yeah, thank you very much. This is a group that allows us to be able to obtain next of kin for the deceased that are part of our office, and also for unidentified individuals. It helps us to identify remains if they don't, if they're transients or they live alone. The prosecutor's office already has access to this, and this just was recently made available to us. And it's actually a service that's, I didn't have the money right in front of me, but it is the cost, but it's a very low cost, and it's based on volume. I don't think our volumes will be very high, but it ends up being not a very great cost. So that's why we want to be a part of this, to be able to meet that need.
Thank you. Questions? Motion?
I move that we approve the subscriber agreement with TRADS Services, TransUnion TLOxp with the coroner.
Second.
Commissioner Eberline?
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan?
Aye.
Chair Matari?
Aye, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is item 17, the 2025 Master Joint Powers Agreement with KCEMSS with the Prosecuting Attorney's Office, Civil Division, and we have Pat Braden here.
Yes, Commissioners, Pat Braden, Civil Deputy Prosecutor for the record. This is a new Master Joint Powers Agreement for the Kootenai County EMS system. There was a lot of cleanup in the language from the 2020 agreement, so it has been 5 years since the last time we did this. All the other entities that are party to this have signed, including the EMS system board itself. The highlights of the substantive changes include language regarding providing Kootenai County Fire and Rescue providing critical care transports on behalf of KCEMSS, and also the ambulance and staffing levels for the City of Coeur d'Alene and Eastside Fire District. Now that, especially now that Eastside is a transport agency, they weren't at first, but they are now. So all we need is approval and signature of the county commissioners, and I recommend your approval.
Thank you. Questions?
Do I need to recuse myself or anything, or I can just vote?
I don't think it's necessary because you serve both boards and as a county representative. So, and I don't see anything adverse between the county and the system. So I think you're perfectly fine to vote on this.
Then I move that we approve the 2025 Master Joint Powers Agreement with KCEMSS.
Second.
Commissioner Eberline?
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan?
Aye.
Chair Matari?
Aye, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, item 18, ATCT Services, Advanced ATC Inc. with the airport. And Kim Stevenson, are you on the line?
I am Commissioners Kim Stevenson for the record. We have before you a contract. We're requesting approval with Advanced ATC for 12 months of ATCT services effective retroactively to April 1st, 2025 due to tower pre-activation responsibilities. Advanced ATC has met all the required qualifications, and the airport feels the qualifications best fit our current tower situation. We chose the annual option as we feel it will provide the best level of safety and noise mitigation for the airport. The contract is for an initial term of 1 year, $579,600. The first 6 months of that are in our FY25 budget already. And during budget deliberations for FY26, we'll be asking for the annual amount in that budget. And this does not include any potential reimbursement that we would get from the U.S. Forest Service. We're currently in contract talks with them for their firefighting services and the IDL firefighting services. This contract also has 2 one-year renewal terms, and per legal, we have added the non-appropriations of funds as an addendum A to the contract.
Any questions?
Just like, Kim, I see that they have up to a 15% increase with future years. How likely is that? It says may, not shall.
Right. It's an interesting time with air traffic controllers. We don't anticipate anything being that high. They also lowered the base rate by a few $1,000s. But it is an interesting time right now. Air traffic controllers are in high demand, and they are using that to make the most of their situation. But we're not anticipating anything that high, certainly.
Okay.
Any other questions? I do have one question. Now, the Forest Service typically supplied either the air traffic controllers before or paid into that. Would they be paying into this at all?
Yes, we are currently negotiating that dollar amount and time frame. But yes, they have said, as they did last year, that they will contribute to the air traffic control tower when they are active.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Questions? Motion?
I move that we approve the contract for air traffic control tower services with Advanced ATC, Inc., retroactive to April 1st, 2025.
Second.
Commissioner Eberline, Commissioner Duncan.
Aye.
Chair Matari.
Aye. Motion carries. Next up, item 19, board approval request. Temporary seasonal hire request for position 314-006 with the Sheriff's Office and Captain Deek.
Morning, Commissioners, or good afternoon. Captain Andy Deek for the record. Last Thursday at the HR meeting, there was an approval for the temp seasonal position. I do have a modification to that request. It's a slight adjustment on the pay scale related to this. We did look at it again. The auditor did a revised projection. It's a difference of $600 from the original that I brought last week for this position. And this is based on a discussion with the person that we had in mind for this. They were looking to make it worth their while for the months that they're going to be covering it. Not a huge impact. It is budget neutral because of the salary savings that we're utilizing to pay for this. I'm seeking the revised request.
Questions? Motion?
I move that we approve the temporary seasonal hire request for position 314-006, and it looks like at a step 8, retroactive to April 6th, 2025.
Second.
Commissioner Eberline,
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan.
Aye.
Chair Matari.
Thank you.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Next up, item 20, resolution 2025-32 to classify records, and I take it we could do both of these at the same time.
Yes.
And resolution 2025-33 to destroy records with the Sheriff's Office, and is Michelle Dennison on the line?
Yes, I am, Commissioners. Hello. This is Michelle Dennison for the record. I would like to request a resolution for the destruction of temporary, semi-permanent, and permanent public records that have met their retention requirements.
Thank you. Questions? Motion?
I move that we approve resolution numbers 2025-32 and 33, which is the classification and destruction of records per Idaho code.
Second.
Commissioner Eberline?
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan?
Aye.
Chair Matari?
Aye. Motion carries. That's for items 20 and 21. Next up, item 22, Resolution 2025-34, Designate polling places, May 20th, 2025, consolidated election. And this is regarding IC 34-302 with our Elections Department and Asa Gray.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Asa Gray for the record. Before you today is a resolution to designate polling places for the May 20th, 2025 consolidated election. We do have a few polling places that are changing locations from last year to this election, and I will briefly go over those. First off, we have our new precinct 209, which the Commissioners adopted in March. That will be voting at Timberlake High School. We are co-locating it with the existing precinct 202. And then we have 7 precincts that are changing locations. Precincts 403 and 405 are moving from Lake City High School over to the Kootenai County Fairgrounds. Precincts 404 and 406 are moving from Heart of the City Church over to the Kootenai County Fairgrounds. Precinct 501 is moving to the Post Falls Library. It was previously at the Kootenai County Fire and Rescue Station number 2. Precinct 504 is moving to Fellowship Bible Church. It is co-locating with Precinct 510 that was already at that location. That was previously at the Post Falls Church of the Nazarene. And Precinct 505 is returning to the Post Falls Library. You'll recall last year the library experienced flooding. We moved 2 precincts out of there. One of them is returning to that location at this time because the other one is currently still co-located at the middle school with an additional precinct. Most of these changes were due to the unavailability of the existing locations or facilities this year. The only one that's an exception to that is Lake City High School. We found it with some changing spots in the facility that we were being moved from one spot to another on different elections, and with the fairgrounds becoming available for our use and us moving the precincts that were formerly at Heart of the City there, we found it prudent to co-locate all 4 of them together in the same facility at the fairgrounds. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to address those.
Thank you. Questions? No. Motion?
I move that we approve Resolution 2025-34, which designates polling places for the May 20th, 2025 consolidated election.
Second.
Commissioner Eberline?
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan?
Aye.
Chair Matari?
Aye. Motion carries. Next up, item 23. Board approval request, May 20, 2025, consolidated election ballot order related to IC 34-902 with elections, and Asa Gray again.
Good afternoon again, Commissioners. This is probably the most fun thing I get to come before you for each election, because I get to talk a little bit about what we have on the ballot this time and talk about some of our data and numbers here. So as I mentioned before, we have an election coming up on May 20th. It's a consolidated election, which means we have a variety of different taxing districts on the ballot this time. So we have the hospital district, we have a seat available on the Consolidated Free Library District Board. We also have 3 water and sewer districts that will appear on the ballot at this election, which would be Ohio Match Road Water District. There are 2 seats up there. We have Green Ferry Water and Sewer District, which also has 2 seats appearing on the ballot. And we have Ross Point Water District, which has 2 seats appearing on the ballot as a vote for 2, because they're the same term length and they do not have seat numbers. We also have 2 of our 4 highway districts have contested races, East Side Highway District and Worley Highway District. Both have contested races. In addition to these candidates, we have several ballot questions. We have supplemental levies in the Lakeland Joint School District, the Plummer-Worley Joint School District, the Post Falls School District, and then we also have fire district questions for, there's a general obligation bond for the city of Coeur d'Alene, and a fire special tax levy for the Spirit Lake Fire Protection District. So that combines all together to mean that we have 123 ballot styles across 74 precincts. That's actually down a little bit from what we sometimes see in these elections. The most ballot styles we'll see in any precinct is 3 ballot styles, which 9 of our precincts have that amount. And then the rest of the precincts are split not quite evenly, but pretty close to that between 1 and 2 ballot styles. A couple of things I will point out on the ballot order. You'll see in there we use a percentage for calculating how many ballots to order, and we try to micro-target this as best as we can across the county based on what is on the ballot, historical turnout, the level of interest that we can gauge as best as we can to expect for ballots in those areas. We also tend to up our ballot order a little bit in some of the very outerlying areas because we want to make sure that, one, we never want to have to run any backup ballots or anything out to any precinct. We don't want anyone to ever run low. But two, if that were to be the case, we never want to have to run something to Worley or Athol or Harrison, something that will take quite a bit of staff time. We also factor in absentee requests for an election. These were factored in on April 2nd into the ballot order. I have an updated count for you today, at least in total, which is that we currently, as of this afternoon, have 2,111 people that have requested an absentee ballot for this election. That number will continue to climb until the request deadline of May 9th. And then we will have early voting. This is one of my favorite things to highlight. We will have early voting starting Monday, May 5th and continuing through Friday, May 16th during normal business hours at the elections office. And then probably the last thing I like to highlight in the data, we're flirting right with the 110,000 registered voter line. We go back and forth over it when the state sends us a list of deceased voters and then more people register and people move out of state. We're at 109,991 registered voters currently. And just a fun fact on that, we're the 3rd largest in the state in registered voters, but we're now only 3,000 behind Canyon for number 2. And we've been slowly gaining on them for the last 5 years. So we'll see if that continues to occur going forward. The last thing I'd like to mention for your benefit and for the public's benefit as well, the Consolidated Free Library District trustee seat is one that causes a lot of confusion at these elections, specifically because that district covers all of our county except for the city limits of Coeur d'Alene, because the Coeur d'Alene Library is a library that is a city-governed library and is not part of that district. So people who reside in the city limits of Coeur d'Alene will not be voting on the library trustee. However, everyone else in the county will vote on that seat. So we like to put that out there at any point we can. We also will be sending signage out to every precinct that has any portion of the city limits of Coeur d'Alene to try to highlight that as best as we can and assist our poll workers in getting that information out. So with that, if you have any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you. Questions? Motion?
I move that we approve the May 20th, 2025 Consolidated Election Ballot Order.
Second.
Commissioner Eberline?
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan?
Aye.
Chair Matari?
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you so much. I don't know if I'll be rooting for you to exceed Canyon County's registered voter accounts, but thank you. Next up, item 24, Resolution 2025-35, approval of revisions to Policy 600, job evaluation and classification with human resources, and Director Sylvia Proud.
Sylvia Proud for the record. In March, the board had spoken with elected officials about the job evaluation classification procedures, and the electeds had made a request that during budget cycle they did not have to first come to an HR meeting and get consent from the board before they had HR evaluate their positions for budget. And that language was then discussed at the next status update meeting, and the board proceeded with moving forward with that approval. So I come before you seeking approval on the revisions for the job evaluation classification policy 600 so that we can get it implemented and into policy.
Thank you.
Questions?
Questions? Motion?
I move that we approve Resolution 202535, which is the revisions to Policy 600, Job Evaluation and Classification.
Second.
Commissioner Eberline?
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan?
Aye.
Chair Matari?
Aye, motion carries. Thank you. Next up, item 25, board approval request, Aquifer Protection District Bylaws revision. And Larry Sims.
Yes, Larry Sims for the record. Basically, this is a commission approval of the bylaws as presented earlier. They were reviewed by legal. Basically, just make the long story short, it's cleaning up language and adding the position of treasurer for that board. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Questions? Motion?
I move that we approve the Aquifer Protection District Bylaws revision.
Aye.
Commissioner Eberline? Commissioner Duncan?
Aye.
Chair Matari?
Aye, motion carries. Thank
Thank you, Commissioners.
Next up, item 26, offer to purchase, sealed bid, AIN 102509 with Nichols, and it's an action item with the BOCC. You wanna-
Sure. Industrial strength envelope. Okay. So this is a check for $3,500 for that AIN, and the property was actually purchased with federal and state funds, and I believe it was part of the cleanup effort in the basin, and I would recommend that we do not accept the bid and that the county keeps ownership of that land.
Commissioner Eberline?
Where is it at?
I think it's along the Coeur d'Alene River, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's this little sliver?
Yes, less than, I believe, less than 1/10 of an acre.
That'd be a pain in the rear to have to fuss around with 10 years in the future.
I think part of it was just the fact that it was purchased for the county to hold on to. And community development suggests that we continue that and keep it as an open space.
Yeah, it's frequently flooded, so it's not really,
It's not buildable.
right.
That'd be another dark horse.
Mm-hmm. Well, I lean towards keeping it on the county's books just because of the history, why it was purchased, the money that was used to purchase it, and go that route.
I agree.
So I'll take a motion.
I move that we reject the bid for AIN 102509, Party of Nichols.
Second.
Commissioner Eberline?
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan?
Aye.
Chair Matari?
Aye, motion carries. That concludes business. Next up, public comment. Nope. All right, 2:34, meeting adjourned. Thank you.